And when you start to really value and recognize your time, you can really change your life for the better. It's all about living the life that you've always wanted to live right now.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Welcome to Health in the Real World podcast. I'm Janke. I'm here today with Renee Clair. Renee, how you doing today?
Hey, good, Chris. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Sure, no problem. Glad you made it out. Give everyone an introduction as far as who you are, what you do, how you're involved in health and wellness.
Yeah, sure. I'm an online yoga teacher for entrepreneurs, and I'm also a productivity coach for wellness entrepreneurs. And what I specialize in is helping wellness entrepreneurs do project management, so get their tasks kind of situated. I help them get their time organized and actually help them to really value their time and set up boundaries in their lives. And then I also do, what did I say? Well, actually, teaching boundaries is a huge part of what I do. It's really, really great. And on the side, I teach online yoga to entrepreneurs who are really busy. And I started teaching online yoga before the pandemic happened. So it's a really, I think it's a really great wellness practice for entrepreneurs to create time for themselves, even if it's within like a 30-minute session.
Sure. Yeah. So you're like the support mechanism for the yoga teachers, the personal trainers, and et cetera, right? And so you kind of, how do you coach them? What does that look like? Is it, I would imagine people who are, this was me when I started, right? So I will train you at any hour of the day or night. I started work at 6 a.m. I went until 9 a.m. and then I had a big break. And then I would allow clients to say, hey, Chris, I know you're working only in the mornings, but can you train me at 7 p.m.? And I'd say, sure, right? And that's definitely not setting up good boundaries. But do you see stuff like that in your practice?
All the time, yes. I actually help people break false beliefs that they have around their time and around how they actually want to live their lives. So how I start off coaching is just asking a whole bunch of questions. What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your personal goals? What are your business goals? Because those are separate, but they actually have so much overlap. And then I look at how a person wants to have their ideal schedule. Like, how do they want to be spending their time? But most importantly, when I help people create time blocks for their schedules, and time blocks are just chunking your time so that you can do a few tasks that are similar within a certain amount of time. What I start with is self-care. So I help people to carve out time for their ideal like morning routine and their ideal wind down or bedtime routine, and then plug in a lunch hour, because a lot of wellness entrepreneurs are so good at taking care of other people, but then their self-care for themselves just goes out the window. So those are the things that I concentrate on first and see, how the wellness entrepreneur like you wants to like actually show up in your own life, and what will help you to feel at your best so you can serve your clients. There's a lot of wellness entrepreneurs that are running around exhausted and like not fueled within their body and their mind. But once you can start really honing in on those things, you can actually show up and be even more productive and even more effective for your clients.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what percentage of wellness entrepreneurs go through this. Again, I definitely went through this for several years. I was exactly what you were just describing. I was a fitness trainer. I was a wellness business owner, and I was depleted. I was exhausted. I was underweight. I wasn't lifting enough weights and eating enough to maintain my muscle mass. I was hurting. I was doing a lot of sitting, editing videos online, and neglecting my own workouts and things like that. So I definitely understand the need for what you do. You mentioned morning routine. I want to go to your morning routine now.
Oh,
What for you specifically? Of course, everybody's gonna need something a little bit different. So just because it's your morning routine doesn't necessarily mean that somebody watching this should adopt it 100%, but maybe they can take bits and pieces from it. So for you, what is a real good morning routine to really get you on top of your game?
So I always suggest that people have time blocks in 2 to 4 hour increments. So I practice that. So my time block in the morning is start time is between 5 and 6 somewhere, and then I start work at 9. So at least I have like probably a good 3 hours most days. When I wake up, the first thing I do is meditate for 20 minutes, just straight up. I sit up in bed. I know that that's not all the way, the yogi way, but if I don't meditate right in bed, it doesn't happen, right? And the first thing I want to do, my mind is really fresh, and I just want to sit there with this clear slate, right? And just either I pray or I just do a mantra, right? I say some positive words that will just start me off on the right foot, on a positive train of thought, right? And then after that, I feed my dog. I feed her a couple of times a day. But so she's part of my morning routine a lot. We do a morning walk too. And I'll either read or journal. Right now I'm reading the book called Profit First, which is really cool, everybody. So recommend checking that book out if you haven't already. It's a game changer. Or I'll journal. I'm big on time blocking and using a paper planner. So I have my bullet journal. So I'll take notes in that, just kind of get clear for my day. And then I'll make a really nourishing breakfast. So that one's like really huge. So either I'll have a smoothie, which I love, with my Ollie protein powder, or I will make tofu and warm veggies, which is usually not heard of, but I really recommend everybody try to have warm cooked veggies in the morning. It's so nourishing for your body. Then I get dressed and I start my day. How's that?
Nice. I love the concept of time blocking, because we create a lot of momentum in and around whatever we're doing. So, like you said, you're doing a lot of health fulfilling activities first, right? You're meditating, you're making that veggie breakfast, you are maybe doing a light workout, things like that. But it's all kind of around the same theme of personal health and fitness. And this is something I've been doing a lot. You and I talked about this, and I mentioned before we started recording that I have several podcasts going on. And so what I'll do is I'll record, like 5 to even 8 podcasts in a 4 hour window, and it's done. And that's for all the podcasts. And so I'll have that chunk done. And it's kind of the same skill set, right? I'm just speaking to a guest, and whether it's health in the real world, or have another podcast called The Conversation. And now I'm starting to do meditations, which is, yeah, I'm calling it 5 minute meditations with Mr. Janke. And all of those, I just string them back to back to back to back to back. Then I have this huge mass of recordings. And then maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, I can do another 4 hour block where I just edit, and then post, 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 post. So this concept of time blocking is, I love it. I've been doing it for several years, and it's incredibly valuable. I would imagine that the entrepreneurs that you help with this, if they're not familiar with this, I'm sure this is a complete game changer for them. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, it's like I have all this time now, right?
Yes, yes, it is. And the concept that you described, I just want to tell all of your audience that that's called batching, which is even taking it further up the productivity totem pole, if you will. So time blocking is where it's at, where you can focus on a set of similar tasks, right? Like I have Marketing Mondays, so my Monday afternoons, I just spend doing newsletters, social media posts. But then the concept of batching is just what Chris described, which is where you're taking one thing and you're doing it over and over and over again, which like Chris is like, kudos to you, because I can imagine you're getting so much done. It sounds like you are, which is really incredible. But yes, most entrepreneurs who come to me, they are doing, marketing Sunday night, maybe again Wednesday morning when they wake up. And it's a little bit of a battle that I see between productivity and then creativity. So one of the myths that I often hear is that time management will stifle creativity, but it actually doesn't. It's actually okay. You agree? Okay, great.
I know. I think it actually does the opposite. Right, because then you have your block of time, and then like if you're doing something that may be a little mundane or boring, right? I don't know, balancing your budget or something like that, that for me is very tedious. But if I know I'm only going to be I only have to use 30 minutes of my time, and I allot 30 minutes, even though I know it might only take me 10, but I allot 30 minutes because I know I can just get into it. I can focus. I can even like sort of meditate, visualize before I get started. Maybe I need that transition. But once you're in that mindset, it's like you don't want to get out of that mindset. So I can dive deep and then zoom out. And I know you work with Katie. I don't know if she does this analogy with you. She does with me. She says there's working, you're in the weeds or in the treehouse, right? So like,
I
no,
haven't
you
heard
guys
that
don't
one
talk.
yet. No,
This,
tell me.
this has helped me so much. Um, okay, so just imagine you're in a tree house and you're surveying your land, and you can see all the different areas. Maybe you can see, this is like your business, and this is your personal life, and this is your finances and your health and everything. And there are like these kind of macro categories. And then each of those categories requires that you do deep dives, and you get down in the weeds. And like I said, you're in the budget, right? You're looking at the details and you're like right here. But if you stay there too long, you neglect. So the ability to go into the weeds for as long as it takes to get that done, get it handled, and then zoom way out, and then survey your land, and then okay, now I need to focus on that. And your concept on batching and chunking time, I think, is a really good way to develop that, because then every part gets what it needs. It's efficient, and it's also like what you just said, creativity and productivity. When you're zoomed out and you're seeing the big picture, you can be so creative, and that's where everything comes in, and you can decide where it fits and everything. So I think this is a great idea. Great that you're doing
Thank you.
this.
Thank you. Yes, and it really is about that zooming in and zooming out. Because when we are in the weeds, like you said, if we're not connected to our higher purpose, then we can get lost, and then we won't want to do it. It doesn't get done. But if we come back out, like you said, and reconnect with our higher purpose, then we're re-energized, and we can really get whatever it is that we need to get done. It is really incredible, and it's always a balance. Life is always about balance, right?
Right, right. So last night, it was maybe 8 p.m., not super late, but the day's winding down, and I just felt myself in a little bit of a funk, and it was really interesting. And I was aware enough that I said, you know what, I'm feeling like I really wasn't feeling good at all. And I just said, I probably just need like a 10-minute walk. And I just left, and I walked outside, and I was looking at the sky, and it was like, I think I was too zoomed in, and I just started zooming out. I was walking, I was looking at the sky. I went around the block. I started coming back toward the house, and I realized I'm not ready to go back yet. I still don't feel that good. Went around again. I went around 3 times. Finally, by the end, I was like, all right, this is good. It's like, that feeling when you're connected to, the sky, and everything felt great. So it was a pretty amazing reminder to me that zoom in, zoom out kind of thing. And I think it's really important for health, wellness, longevity, productivity, enjoyment, just kind of all those things kind of weaving together.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. My happy place is the ocean. And as you know, I used to live in California, so I really am missing like Bodega Bay right now. I'm back in Texas, everybody, but I can still kind of escape to the Gulf, but it's not the same. But I really love going for a walk too. I have a good friend named Dr. Wettigrove. She's a therapist here in San Antonio, and she leads therapy hikes. She genuinely believes in the power of even just looking at a tree. I'm looking at a tree like from my window right now. It'll just reset and just help you to remember that the life is like bigger than what it really is. The other thing that I recommend people do is if they have a lot of anxiety is drop down and do child's pose. So you can zoom out or you can come in, right? Because sometimes the mind can get a little rambunctious, if you will. So one thing that I do, I have my yoga mat in my office, you guys, and I'll just drop down and I'll do child's pose and just take really deep, nourishing breaths to just kind of reconnect and ground down. And then I'm able to refocus.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's great advice. Um, yeah, and just kind of get in touch with your breathing, and it's a very simple pose, and you might fall asleep even, right? Like depending on how tired you are.
Yeah. This morning I did yoga nidra for my meditation, because sometimes I'll just mix it up. Sometimes I like to listen to sound bowls and things like that. But after yoga nidra, I definitely took a nap, and that practice is so great. And so it's really comforting and easy to do, but will help you tap back into your body and mind, which sometimes your body will tell you you need more sleep, you know? And so I think that's excellent, like just to take a nap in the middle of your day. And it's your schedule, right? Like you're the boss of you. So why not take a 15-minute nap or go for 3 walks in the evening, you know? I think that's
Right.
really great.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, Renee, I like to end the show with a chance for you to give sort of like a motivational speech. So if you were, up on stage, giving a motivational talk to a group, 1 to 2 minutes, again, very, very big picture, kind of like where I went yesterday with my walk. Uh, what would you say? Talk about whatever you want as far as getting people motivated, inspired to live their best life.
Oh gosh. Okay. Thank you. I forgot about this. I'm nervous now. Um, One of my favorite things to say is don't make time, choose time, and choose you, because that is within your control. That's within your power. And when you start to really value and recognize your time, you can really change your life for the better. It's all about living the life that you've always wanted to live right now. So many people go through life and they're exhausted and they're waiting to retirement. But right now, you can live your fullest life. You can make the choices. You can change to be an entrepreneur. Sure, there's some difficulties within that, but the beauty is instead of taking on other people's problems, you get to take on your own, and those are more precious. I think they're more fulfilling for the soul, right? And I don't really see them as problems. They're actually just part of life's journey. So within that, again, it's about taking a deep breath, knowing what it is that you want to do, how you want to show up, and you utilizing your time to get there. And life is so much more enjoyable. And I hope everybody will make those baby steps and at least try to time block their morning routine. I think within that, I've seen a lot of my clients make huge shifts within their business just by starting there. Is that helpful?
Nice. That sounds great. So, Renee, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, if they want help with this time blocking or if they want to work with you, how do they contact you?
Yeah, so I help again with time management, which my big tool right now to use is time blocking. I help people recruit for their teams. And then I also help people do project management so they can actually see their progress and achieve their goals. I love hanging out on Instagram. You guys come find me. It's at the productive WP, because wellnesspreneur is far too long to spell out. So it's at the productive WP. If you message me, I will message you back. It's me on there. And then come find me on my website. If you'd like to have a call with me, that would be wonderful. I'd love to be a sounding board. My website is www.renee-clair.com. And Chris, it's been a pleasure to be here. I'm really honored. So thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.